As governor, Elizabeth Courtney said that you will be known as the land acquisition governor, and you yourself said, 100 years from now, we will have hunting, hiking, fishing, and snowmobile riding because of what we did in this decade. And you put land acquisition and conservation at the top of your beliefs of what you accomplished.
After I became governor, there was a lot to do. And it was a very tough time. And the state really needed a steady hand. And so the first 5 days were just crazy. It was 20-hour days trying to figure out what could be done and so forth and so on. And after about the 5th day, I had a few moments to myself and I wrote down a list. I've told this story before, but I'll tell it again. Jim Hunt, former governor of North Carolina, once told me about being a governor that 90% of what we do is urgent and 10% is important. And I never wanted to forget the stuff that was important. So every day I could look at this list of 4 or 5 things and, you know, where does this all fit in? You had to worry about the budget. I talked about this in one of my inaugural speeches, the 2-year plan, the 5-year plan, or the 10-year plan, and the 100-year plan. And the 1 or 2-year plan is the budget and all the things you fight about. The 5-year plan are things like education and success by 6, or the 15 or 20-year plan, because it makes a difference down the road. And then the really long-term stuff. Land conservation, what we did in land conservation, the Champion Land Deal, which is hundreds of thousands of acres, tons of money into the Housing and Conservation Trust Fund. It's going to allow Vermont to stay essentially like Vermont is today.
I remember sitting in his living room and talking to him early on about, you know, what do you want to accomplish when you're governor? We don't know how long you're going to be governor. You know, it's a 2-year term. Most incumbents get reelected, but what do you want to accomplish? And that's the first thing that he talked about, was protecting farmland and forest land, you know, something tangible as part of the legacy.
Every acre of land that he could see was going to be conserved was something that made him happy. And the Champion Land Deal was just amazing to watch his support for the people who were trying to negotiate that through and make it happen. You know, I just don't think it could have happened almost anywhere else. And so much of it was because he could articulate, too, that long vision.
We're never going to be a state that's so developed you can't find any place to hunt or fish or snowmobile or hike or be alone with nature. And that's because we put development rights on all these things that will never be developed. And people will complain about it and this and that, and they did, and there was resistance. But I was determined to do that because it matters what you do in the long term in these jobs, not the short term.